It's January, which means it's time for us to do the January book tag. We do this book tag every single year and we love doing it. This book tag was originally created by Jan Agaton, so we will tag her YouTube channel in our description box, but it's the same question, so we're gonna just go through all of them like we do every year.
We love doing this tag because it kind of reflects on last year and then brings us into the new year. And we get to go over our reading goals and all the books that we want to read in 2025 and all of the good stuff. So we have the questions here on our phones. So let's just get into it. The first question is, what is the first and last book that you read last year, if you remember?
I do remember in 2024, the first book I read was Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner, and it was the most devastating book I've ever read in my entire life. I definitely wasn't expecting it to be as sad as it was, but it was a very emotional, powerful read. And then the last book I read in 2024 was The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren. It was part of that Valentine's mini-series that all the romance authors did, and that was one of my favorite romances I've ever read, even though it was a short story. But that really opened my eyes, and I know that I want to read more short story collections this year because I really enjoyed that one.
The first book that I read in 2024 was Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. That was the final book in the Natural series, so I started off with a good one. And then the last book that I read was the Taylor Swift book.
I forgot you counted that as a book.
Yeah, I sure did. The Eras Tour Taylor Swift book.
Question number 2 is, what was your first read of 2025?
My first read of 2025 was The Woman by Kristen Hanna. I just knew I had to pick something that was gonna do it for me because I did kind of end the year on a little slump, like I wasn't feeling like reading. And Kristen Hanna books can just always get me out of that, and that's exactly what she did.
The first book I read this year in 2025 was Manacled by Sin Lin Yu, which was probably the longest book I could have chosen, but it was so good. I definitely needed to read it. I knew that Sin Lin Yu was coming out with the traditionally published one this year, so I had to read it before that one came out, and I definitely see the hype. It read really fast even though it was really long.
Question number 3 is, share 3 of your reading goals for this year.
One of mine is to diversify my bookshelf. I do definitely want to find more authors and genres. Another one of mine is to read more nonfiction that isn't just memoirs, because that was a goal I had last year, but all the nonfiction books I read were memoirs, which is fine, but I want to maybe read some more like self-help type of books, because anytime people read nonfiction, I feel like self-help books are like the ones that they mainly read, so I'm interested. I want to explore that genre. And then my third goal would be to read as many banned books as I can. I've been really into those lately, so I want to keep on reading those and collecting them.
3 of my goals. The first one, I decided to make my Goodreads reading goal of 50 books because last year I did 100 and I had a really horrible time with that, and I don't ever want to do that again. So 50 seems like a good number. I of course want to work through my physical TBR. I'm so tired of seeing all of those books over there in the corner, but I'm glad if we have like TBR shelves. I think it makes it easier to kind of just see what all we have to work with. And then I also want to continue mixing up my genres. I tend to read a lot of romance books, so I just want to keep branching out to all the other genres, and I have all kinds of options on my TBR shelf too, so no excuses for that.
Question number 4 is, what are 3 of your most anticipated titles?
So Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out. I don't even really know anything about it, but I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have loved every single book that I've read by her, and it's been a while since she's had something come out, so I'm really excited about that one. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez is also coming out. Another author that everything she puts out I just eat up and love. And then Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford, probably my favorite romance author, honestly. And she's finally writing a story about Rio, and he's kind of that character who like everyone's been waiting for his story. So that'll be fun, and I can't wait to see the cover reveal for that one.
I wrote mine down. The first one obviously is Alchemized by Sin Lin Yu. That is the version of Manacled that she had to recreate for it to be traditionally published, because Manacled relied so much on the Harry Potter universe, and that's copyright. So I'm so interested to see how much she's gonna change and like how much that's gonna affect the story. I can't wait to see what she's gonna come up with. That comes out September 30th, so I'm gonna be first in line to get it. Another one is We Love You Bunny by Mona Awad. I did not know she was going to come out with like a sequel prequel book to Bunny. That was the first book I read by her, and I think I read it way too early on in my reading journey. I need to do a reread because I know that I love her writing, and I think now I would appreciate that story more. I'm so excited for this one. It just says 2025, so we don't have an exact date yet, but it's gonna be like in the POV of the other bunnies, so we're gonna get their side of the story. I can't wait for that one. And the last one I put down is Famous Last Words by Jillian McAllister just because I've loved her other mystery thrillers so far. She's a really unique way of storytelling, so I can't wait to read her newest mystery thriller.
Question number 5 is which goals did you reach / not reach last year?
My biggest goal was to prioritize my physical TBR, and I didn't do that. Another one I had was to keep up with my book tracker. I made like a digital book tracker for myself last year, and I stopped using it like halfway throughout the year, so that sucks.
I'm always bad with those too.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this year to really do it. I started using my physical reading journal tracker, so hopefully I stay with it.
A goal that I did reach was reading 100 books, but I only made it through with like the Taylor Swift book and like little novellas. I would not have reached it had I not like technically counted those, because like should they be counted? To each their own. Something that I did not accomplish though was start DNFing books. I just can't do that. All last year there were so many books where like right away I know, ooh, like I'm not gonna be into this. I don't know, I guess it's a problem. I can't stop.
I think maybe with the 100 reading goal, maybe you felt like you had to finish them so you could count them towards a reading goal. I think the reading goals put too much pressure on us.
Yeah.
So question number 6 is, are there any new releases you've heard of that you have no desire to read?
So we actually have a mutual answer on this one, and I don't know what it is, but I don't care to pick up Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I don't know if it's just like been too long since I've read the last one that I'm just like not eager to read it.
I knew at the end of Iron Flame I wasn't going to continue with the series. I know everyone was eating up the ending because it was like a twist or whatever, but I knew by the end of that I was like, I can't read 3 more books of this series. Not that it wasn't good, I just didn't really have an interest in it, and it reminded me of like way too many other stories. I don't know, it's too much.
I think I'd eventually read it, but I'm not like eager to go to the store right now and go get it.
If you have read it though, let us know what your thoughts are. Maybe you can change our minds. Another one I had written down is the 3rd book in the Ruminous trilogy. The like Leather and Lark, Butcher and Blackbird one. The 3rd one's coming out this year. I'm not reading it.
I didn't even read the 2nd one.
Oh, I forgot you didn't read the 2nd one. Yeah, I read the 2nd one thinking I would like it more than the 1st one, and I did, but not enough to read the 3rd one.
Question number 7 is what are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any?
A reading habit, I want to read every single day. Some days I'll sit down and like read a whole book in one sitting, and then other times I'll go like 3 or 4 or 5 days without picking up a book at all, and I just feel like I need a better balance, so I want to like have a dedicated time every day to read, probably right before I go to bed. And when I read, I don't want to have my phone near me, because a lot of times like I'll be reading and then I'll check my phone if I get a notification, and then I'll be like scrolling for a little bit. It's hard for me to go back to the book, so whenever I read, I don't want my phone like anywhere near me to distract me.
A habit that I really want to work on is not relying on the audiobook so much. I listen to audiobooks all the time, and I think that also has something to do with my goal last year. It was like if there was any time where I'm like doing chores around the house, like I just would listen to it, and then of course like you're distracted, so you're not like fully grasping what's happening. So I constantly found myself having to like go back a little bit. I've created a really bad habit with audiobooks. I mean, they're useful. Question number 8, are there any adaptations you're excited about?
I feel like we have the same one. Should we say it at the same time?
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Verity. No, Summer I Turned Pretty pissed me off because I wanted it last year.
I'm so excited for the 3rd season of The Summer I Turned Pretty. That's supposed to come out this summer. I'm so incredibly excited because this is the book that is it's gonna rock the internet, I feel like. Y'all have a big storm coming, and I'm so excited.
Yes, that's a good one. I'm really excited to see The Housemaid with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried. Those two will probably do The Housemaid justice.
I put Wicked Part 2. Does that really count if it's like...
Yeah.
It's not a direct adaptation from the book, though. It's the adaptation of the play. But either way, I'm excited. Question number 9 is, what was your favorite bookish memory of last year?
I feel like I always have the same answer, but there's a specific book sale that we go to, and it is my favorite book thrifting trip. I always look forward to it every single year.
I put the New Orleans book shopping because we did a whole video where we were like exploring indie bookstores in New Orleans, and that was so much fun. I put that and the Houston book crawl because that was cool too.
The last question is carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing.
I was in the middle of a bunch of books last year. The only one that I'm really trying to finish this year is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. I started that last year. I don't know what happened. I think that was when I was entering my slump, not because of that book. It was just happening, so I didn't continue with it, but I really want to finish it because it was so interesting. It was like a horror book that took place like at a boarding school, and there was like a movie being made. That one I want to read this year.
I read this question as like physical actual books that we're carrying over into 2025. We have lots of those. And we just talked about 25 books that we want to read in 2025 in our last video. So all those books we're carrying over to this year.
That was all of the questions in the tag. I always love doing tag videos. It's fun to just like sit and chat about books and goals and things. So let us know in the comments what your answers are to these questions.
That's it for today. Make sure y'all join our Literal Besties book club. We are going to be picking the book that we're going to read in February, and I'm hoping it's going to be a romance.
That link will be in the description along with all of our social media accounts, so make sure to check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys next time. Because some days I'll read like all day, back to front. Back to front?
Okay.
Okay, what?
I'm hoping it's going to be a romance.
I don't even know what that is. Okay.